So what's up, guys? Matt with BAAM Ranch, and we just picked us up a new zero-turn mower. It's a Cub Cadet Ultima? Yeah, Cub Cadet Ultima ZT1, 42-inch cutting deck. So let's check this thing out. Just got it a few weeks ago. I did get a couple good mows in on it. So let's go over my thoughts on it and see if maybe we think this thing's a total piece of crap. Okay, just a quick walk around on this thing. Like I said, it's a Cub Cadet, the Ultima ZT1. It's a 42-inch deck, and that's a kind of a small deck, but I'll get into the reason why I wanted that size specifically in just a minute. It's got all your normal features, you know. It does have the Kawasaki engine, you know, your standard, you know, lap bars and everything else. Let's hop into the operator center and check this thing out. So I'll tell you what, before we do that, let's go ahead and check out the elephant in the room, which is these things are expensive. To get a lawn tractor that's in the same kind of class as far as engine and cutting size and everything else, tire size, all of that stuff, as compared to a lawn tractor, these things are normally well over $1,000 more for something that's in the same class. So there's an obvious question that comes up of what exactly are you getting? What are you paying for whenever you buy one of these versus just a lawn tractor? And this isn't a commercial grade mower by any means. If you're doing something commercial, go ahead and click the thumbs up and move on to the next video, because this is a residential mower and it's an entry level residential mower. But there's two things that you pay for whenever you buy a zero turn, and that's speed and maneuverability. With the amount of grass that we've got to cut, it was taking the better part of, you know, a Saturday to get it all cut. And the old mower I had, it was a riding mower, just a tractor style riding mower. I believe it was a Craftsman, and it's 15 years old. It was just wore out. It needed to be replaced. Got to a point where we were tired of putting money into it and we needed to upgrade. So went ahead and picked up this zero turn mower to, you know, replace that old Craftsman. And like I said, it was taking the better part of a half of a Saturday to get the yard cut. Well, with this thing, I can get the whole yard done in an hour, maybe just a little over an hour if I include all of my weed eating and everything. The maneuverability of this thing just allows it to get into so many places so much better than, you know, a riding lawn tractor can. So that's what you're getting whenever you pay that extra $1,500 or however much it is to upgrade to a zero turn from a lawn tractor. So why this mower specifically? Well, for one, price. I'm not made of money. I don't have a ton of money, but I didn't want the cheapest thing I could possibly find. I needed to have a 42-inch cutting deck because I wanted to be able to get inside gates and fit inside comfortably inside the bed of a short bed pickup. And you get much wider than a 42-inch deck, and it just takes up too much space and it doesn't fit between the fender wells. It did have the Kawasaki engine. This is still a residential duty engine, but with that being said, it's on the higher end of the residential duty engines. I've never had trouble with a Kawasaki engine. Go around and look for people that have done repairs on them, and you're not going to find much out there. They really run pretty good. They're pretty reliable. I guess that, aside from availability of I wanted one today, I'm going to go buy it today, is how I wound up with this one. I looked at a Craftsman, I looked at a couple other brands, but this Cub Cadet seemed to fit kind of the happy medium of what I was looking for versus availability and everything else. So let's talk about how to run this thing, or some of the features that this thing has. Okay, I guess this would be considered the control panel. You know, your normal stuff, nothing fancy. You know, your electromagnetic PTO to turn the blades on and off. The handles, they're actually pretty comfortable. They've got a really good palm swell here, and they are adjustable. I adjusted them down just so I'm not reaching up so high to be able to use them. The height adjustment is simple. It's just a dial in the height, the height you need. It seems to work great. Go ahead and take it all the way down to 1 inch, and it'll go up to 4.5 inches. This pedal here, I think a lot of people probably think that that's an emergency brake, but if you'll watch, when you press that down, it raises the deck. That way, if you've got a stump or something like that that you don't want to hit, you can just step on that pedal and it raises the deck. And it also allows you to turn the height adjustment. You know, when your foot's not on that pedal, the height adjustment's locked in, so it won't move. It does have an access panel here to be able to get to the belts and stuff. It's held in with a bolt. A wing nut of some kind would have been a better idea, but you know, how often do you need to do that? And they did include a small wrench to be able to access that, as well as all these other little commonly adjusted bolts that are located in and around these things. One thing that I do really appreciate about the engine is everything's pretty easy to get to. I mean, you've got wing nuts here for your air filter. It seems pretty protected. The dipstick's easy to get to. Fuel filter easy to get to. The oil, there's a hose right here, and it comes down to right here to drain your oil, which is nice because we all know if maintenance isn't easy, maintenance doesn't get done. The oil filter, it's easy to get to, but there's no way to catch what you're draining out down here. So I guess your only real option is to put a rag down there and soak up any oil that you spill, because we all know that we do spill oil everywhere. It did come with a trailer hitch on here, but it stuck out a little ways and I wanted it to be nice and compact. And as a matter of fact, about an hour after I got this thing home, my wife was driving it. She went through the ditch and the trailer hitch caught and got the mower stuck. No big deal. If you get these things stuck, don't try to just manhandle them out. What you do, the front end of these moves pretty easily. So push the front end left or right, and that's how you can get these out if you get stuck. It did have some headlights. I don't know how I feel about them. They work. I did run it around a little bit at night just to see how they worked, and I guess they're adequate but not great. I do wish that these hubs were greasable. They are not. However, if I can get this rotated around, yeah. However, I think, yes, the wheel hubs are greasable, but these spindles are not, which kind of sucks. One thing I would change about this is a lot of these have an articulated pin right here, so this front axle can move and flex with the ground. This one does not. It's, you know, hard framed, rigid. So as you can see, that tire is not touching the ground. That does contribute a little bit to a rough ride, but it's not that big a deal. Speaking of the ride, the seat, man, it's incredibly comfortable. I like it. I don't have any complaints at all with the seat. It does flip forward, and it has a AGM battery, absorbed gel mat battery instead of a lead acid battery, which is a much higher quality battery than, you know, your traditional lead acid batteries. It's not a lithium or anything like that, but it's somewhere in the middle, and they are significantly more costly. I think the fuel tank is 3.5 gallons. I wish it had some sort of a fuel gauge on it, but like I said, we're talking about an entry-level machine here, so I'm not real worried about that. I can get about 2 acres mowed on a tank, maybe a little less than 2 acres before I burn through that tank, and I could probably do a little bit better if I was a little bit more efficient, but you know, it is what it is. Cup holders, I think, are a waste of energy on any mower. Just give me a big giant cubby that I can put some tools, and if I see some trash, I can pick it up and throw it in there. It does work for that. It's adequate. Nothing to, you know, write home about, but it is adequate. Seat is adjustable. These are pins, wing nuts. Move it back and forth however you see fit. And the seat is really, it's pretty comfortable. I don't have any complaints. It's got some little polyurethane bushings that it sits on that have holes drilled in them, and it, you know, it actually does provide a little bit of bounce to the seat. Makes it pretty comfortable. If you're going over some real thick, clumpy, like love grass or old crabgrass lumps, it will bounce you around a little bit. It doesn't have a suspension, you know, like some of the expensive ones. But like I said, it's an entry-level mower. This was under $3,500, and I wasn't wanting to spend $10,000 to get something just because I wanted a little bit, you know, nicer of a ride. So I did mow this morning. So let me kind of show you the cut. Of course, it's a new mower with new blades. So it's you know, gonna look pretty good regardless. But time will tell, and I'll do an update video on what the cut quality is like. I do notice that it does do a pretty good job of standing the grass up. I have it set on 2 inches, and it looks like this is maybe cutting, I don't know, 1.5 or 1.75 inches. But it does seem to have a pretty good amount of lift. And if you'll notice, you don't see any clippings anywhere. It really does a good job of dispersing those clippings. So I'm pretty satisfied with that. But anyway, all this talking, y'all want to see it cut some thick grass. Like I said, I already mowed my yard, but let's go ahead to the ditch and see if we can find some thick grass to cut. One thing I will mention, this area right here, it's plenty big. I've been on these zero turns before where you were real cramped in, and if there's something you need to pick up and move or take with you or whatever, you can actually put some stuff right here and it'll stay there pretty well. And with the way this is curved, gives you quite a bit of foot room, so it's pretty comfortable. That's fun. It really is a lot of fun to run. My wife actually loves mowing with this thing. But anyway, that's what I got to say about it. Do I recommend it? So far, yeah, I think so. You know, if you've got an acre of grass to mow, yeah, look into one of these. Like I said, you know, the deck isn't the greatest. It's just a stamped deck. And there are a few features that aren't on the really expensive ones, but this isn't a really expensive mower either. So yeah, I definitely go check one of these things out. I think you'll think it's worth the cash spent.